After completion of this course, you would be able to understand following: what is PLSQL and its purpose, and overview of the history of the PLSQL, how this PLSQL actually evolved, okay, and how it comes like a very powerful language over the year, architecture of the PLSQL, advantages of the PLSQL, SQL versus PLSQL. These are the topics, or these are the concepts that you are going to learn after the completion of this particular course. Not whole course, the first option of the course. Second, PLSQL actually stands for PLSQL, Procedural Extension to SQL with Design Feature of Programming Languages. Means like earlier there were SQL only, Structured Query Language. Now this Oracle Corporation has given us the provision like you can write any kind of control statement, like any kind of procedural statement like the other language has, Java, C++, ADA, like this only. So we can write the if statement, for loop, while loop, anything that any procedural language has. So that is why PL means procedural extension to structured query language. Introduced by Oracle Corporation to overcome the limitation of SQL, which were difficult to achieve many tasks by using the SQL. So they come up with this kind of, because this SQL language is common across every database. So if you are supposed to talk to the Oracle, you should write the SQL. Okay, you should write this SQL to talk to the database. So if suppose we have written one application in Java, what would happen? If you need some data from Oracle database or any database, then you have to go to the database by writing the SQL injection. This SQL query will go to this database, fetch the record into the result set, and this Java guy will do his calculation according to his requirement. Similarly, like in C or C++, you have to write several SQL to achieve your task. And you need the drivers, like in Oracle, in Java you need JDBC, in Visual Basic you need ODBC. But what is the good part here in the SQL, PLSQL? You don't require any driver, because this particular language was actually invented by Oracle itself. So you directly write the PLSQL code and see the magic, like any, in terms of performance, in terms of connection, in terms of flexibility. So here the first version of PLSQL was 1.0, introduced in the database 6. Then the Oracle database 6 was introduced. Okay, and there was one client application developed by Oracle Corporation itself called SQL plus form, SQL star forms. You can see over here, version 3. This you no need to understand what exactly it is. This is just like a front-end application. These Oracle guys actually came up with the competition of Visual Basic. They did not have any front-end applications, so they came out with this SQL forms version 3. On that point of time, these Oracle guys has developed PLSQL engine within Oracle Forms. So on the same time, they came out with this Oracle Database 6 also. So this PLSQL version 1 was introduced in Database 6 as well as in Oracle Form. So in order, if you are logged into your database currently, so you can write select star from $V version, from where you will come to know what is your PLSQL version. 1.0 was introduced when Oracle 6 was there in the database world. I'll show you here in my PLSQL developer. I'll let you know what is this tool about and all. Start from $V versions. versions. 1 second. Version, not versions. So here you can see PLSQL release 10.2.0.3. Now they have very much advanced version. Earlier they started with 1.0. Over the period of time they reformed this PLSQL and reached to a very advanced level at 10, and with 11G this PLSQL is 11. But you can see with database 6 it was 1. With database 7 it was 2.0. 8 2.1 like this. Now they are at 11. Means database 11, PLSQL 11. I hope you understood up to here. The language includes object-oriented programming techniques also. It was not there earlier in 1.0 or 2.0. There were many things like which were actually lacking. So these guys required, like, why can't we become like a 4th generation language? So after that they keep on adding many features, many new things. Then they actually introduce object-oriented features also, like in our Java, like your function overloading, encapsulation, data hiding, etc., that we will see in the later chapters. It does not require any driver, as I told you, like Java JDBC require a driver. So it is so much easy to write PLSQL code with the Oracle database. And you remember this particular language is only support in the Oracle database, not in the SQL server, not in the DB2, not in the other database. And you must be knowing, like, almost 80 or 90% of the organization across the world is using Oracle DB because of high security, high performance, high online data transaction processing and all. So let us move to the next chapter, is the architecture of SQL and PLSQL. In the first thing you can see that PLSQL block is there. It means we can write the PLSQL block. How does it work? I'm telling you how it goes to the SQL server, Oracle server, and it works. PLSQL block, you will write a set of statement is called PLSQL block. This set of statement is fired, and this set of statement contains SQL as well as some normal programming language syntax, like declaration, initialization of variable, loops and all. So here this will actually segregate the SQL part separate and the PLSQL part separate. So this PLSQL part, all for loop, variable declaration and variable initialization and all, will go to the PLSQL engine. We call it procedural statement executor. And all the SQL part will go to the SQL engine, call it SQL statement executor. You can see many architecture in the Google and all will almost the same. The concept is same. Okay, and this will go to the finally Oracle server. So as I said you, the application like Oracle Forms, they have the built-in PLSQL engine where you can write the PLSQL code directly into the application, like the front-end application Oracle Forms, where you can write begin, declare, end, because this particular product is owned by Oracle. So they have given the provision like you can write. Even nowadays the world is around, talking about the browser-based application. They come up with PSP, like PLSQL server page, like your JSP. You can develop your front-end screen by using the PLSQL engine also. All logics and everything goes within the PLSQL. Now they are very much advanced, very powerful, very much secured. I hope you understood the PLSQL architecture. If you don't, I'll give you a chance at the end. You can put your queries across me. Advantages of PLSQL. I think almost I have talked about the advantage or features of PLSQL, but here we'll go through once. If we are using the front-end application developed in any other language, Java, C++, then in order to fetch data from database, we need to write queries. Maybe one or many queries. As I said you in the beginning of the session also. Same thing I am repeated here. And each time it has to go to the database server and fetch information, and fetches information that will actually increase your input output. Like every time, if you have written 5 SQL, every time you have to go there and fetch the data. However, if you use PL/SQL, it will have to set all the SQL statement within begin and end, and this will go only once. I'll show you here in this next. You can see like front-end application. This may be developed in Java. If you require information from database, you have to write first SQL, second SQL. There may be n number of SQLs. What happened? If you wrote one SQL will go to the Oracle database or any database, will go there, will fetch the information and come back to the front-end applications. Second, there is another type of information required. Write the another SQL, go to the DBMS, come back again. So you can see there are 3 input output with 3 SQLs that actually increase the network traffic, that actually increase the performance. Input, remember, input output is the most killer of SQL performance, degradation of performance. So everywhere we will talk about in the last chapter about Oracle performance, PL/SQL performance tuning or SQL performance tuning, where we will deal with mostly how to reduce the input output. Input output almost, if you'll see the AWR report, there is one heading like your input output, wait time, CPU time. So these are the main factors. Like PL/SQL came out by this Oracle guy. They wrote PL/SQL, where you can write all 3 SQLs within the begin end block. Begin end block you can write. So if like begin, if, then, else, SQL1, else SQL2, else SQL3, and if. What happened? You no need to send every SQL, each SQL to the database independently. This whole block will go to the Oracle DB. Okay, and all the requirement written in the SQL 1, 2, 3 will be processed only one time at the database side, and will fetch the information back to the front-end application. So IO will be only once. It will hit database only once, not thrice or twice, like in the first example. Similarly, like this, if you don't want to write the PL/SQL block at runtime, you can write the PL/SQL stored object like procedure, function, packages, etc. That will hit that will always be there at the database side. You just need to call that procedure or function from the front-end application. This will be executed here at the PL/SQL engine side. And the beauty of that is stored procedure, like it is already there in the compiled code. We call it P code, PL/SQL code. It will be already there in the low-level language. So the parsing time will not be there unless until you modify the procedure or function. So you can see that the difference between all these 3 ways of accessing database. So obviously this PL/SQL is the best way of accessing the database rather than calling it from Java. So that is why in many applications which were developed in JSP, Java, or servlet and all, will use the PL/SQL procedure function of packages to achieve is most complex task. They won't dependent on their front. They won't keep. They never keep this complex logic into the front end Java code and all. They put everything in the PL/SQL and let it be stored at the database level. That will really enhance the performance. Okay. We'll move to the advantage of PLSQL. Second advantage is, first advantage we have seen, like it is, what was the first advantage topic? Improved performance. Because of this, one PLSQL block or procedure function really improved the performance. Second is the tightly integrated with SQL. As we know, this SQL language is common across every database. If you have written the ANSI standard, this is common. Even if you have written sector from either in SQL Server or Oracle, it will not give you any syntax error and all. So PLSQL is tightly integrated with SQL, means all the syntax of SQL which you learned so far you can use as it is over here. All data types supported by the SQL will be supported by PLSQL. And as I told you in the very beginning, like this will give you the more flexibility in writing the SQL, like many things which is very difficult to achieve with SQL, where they have a lot of conditions. So you have to write a lot of case statements, case 1, case when, then, else, like this. So you can achieve the same requirement by using the PLSQL code. It's very easy, readable and understandable, and you can modularize the whole functionality into separate module. Right, suppose we need a requirement like we have to fetch the information from 5 tables at runtime. What we have to do? We have to write the 5 different SQL. So in PLSQL, by coming with PLSQL, you no need to write the 5 different SQL statements every time. As I showed you, one second. I'll show you in my PLSQL developer. Here, select star from EMP. EMP is a table, already existing object, so it fetches all the information. If I have to write select star from V underscore EMP, there is no such table, so it will throw the error table of view does not exist. But in PLSQL, we can declare a variable from where this will be replaced by different table at runtime, sometime with EMP, sometime with department, sometime with cell grade table, like this. So if the requirement is like that, I need to pass the table name at runtime. Then you can't achieve this functionality with the SQL. As you see that the Oracle directly check into the database whether this particular object is there or not. But in case of PLSQL, you can use the dynamic statement like this. I'll show you. We will learn all these things. Execute immediate, execute immediate within begin and end, begin from, you can define your variable name runtime table, so and end, and you can pass this runtime table name in any of the cursor. Declare cursor. We'll see all this. Just I wanted to show you. As a select table underscore name from user underscore tables. User underscore tables is a view which contains all the table name, and you can find out where table underscore name in whatever the table name you want to give. You can give it over here, department 2 table at runtime. You can fetch the information of 2 table by using the execute immediate feature of PLSQL. So that is why I'm telling this is tightly integrated with SQL. If you know the SQL syntax, no need to worry. Only you have to know the PLSQL syntax, how to use this SQL efficiently over here. So tightly integrated with SQL, or or you can see at the end any DDL statement. As you write, you will create table, create procedure, or any DDL or any PLSQL statement also. You can create the procedure function at runtime as well by using the create statement. So if you know the SQL create table statement, create view statement, create synonym statement, you can write directly over here with execute immediate feature given, which you can do by using the PLSQL. Highly productive in the sense the other languages are also highly productive since they are object oriented language. We can modularize our concept over here by begin, end, exceptions, means if any error comes, what we are going to do, we're going to store the table or not, how many variables are there, how to use these variables and all. This is called highly productive. It means your design is very effective. PLSQL is very portable. Portable in the sense, if you have developed one procedure, suppose, you no need to worry about like you have developed the procedure in Windows environment, whether this will run in the Linux environment or not, any Unix environment, no need to worry. It is very much portable. Same procedure you can deploy over there in the Linux environment or the Unix environment or the AIX box, anything. So it is highly portable. Application developed in PLSQL can run under any platform, as I said you. This is the same thing. Highly secured. Highly secured means if you have written, suppose there is a requirement that you have to increase the salary of one particular employee at one time. Means there is a requirement like the king will get $10,000 every month and the current salary of the king is $5,000. So these are very highly secured concept of functionality that if you write this in your Java code, any developer can come and change it. So you can see in any companies the database is not shared across the developer. Only the view part, only the view privileges is given to this front-end developer guys, unless until it is required for update and delete, very rarely. So any business logic, generally we keep it in the database procedure function or package, any highly secured logic, so that no one can tamper it actually. So the tampering is avoided by using the PLSQL code. That is why we call it highly secured. We can wrap PLSQL source code also. Like many people say, like if I have written the C++ program, then after executing, after compiling and runtime, it will generate the executable file .exe. Similarly, Java file .class file is getting produced. Similarly, like this, within PLSQL, we can read all the source code of PLSQL. If you want, you can wrap it. We will learn it in the future chapter. By writing the triggers are the automatic kicking of the PLSQL code. You can save or you can secure your data. Suppose one guy who log into the database server and you have written something like this, if the user is this, he will not able to see the salary. Then you can write the trigger to achieve this particular purpose. So by writing the trigger, you can secure your functionality, you can secure your PLSQL code. You will see in the trigger chapter. Access to the predefined package. Over the period of time from Oracle 6 to Oracle 11G, they came out with many packages, like the other language also does, this Java and all. Here in the PLSQL, you can write the browser-based application by using dbms_http, the dbms_output to see on the screen. Many languages have that feature like println in Java, println in C, cout in C, like this. Similarly, in PLSQL, if you want to check your code, whether it is printing correctly or not, you can use dbms_output. dbms_lob will be dealt with a large object like movie, pictures. They'll see one after storing one pictures, any photo and all, JPG or any BMP format. Okay. DBMS underscore utility is a very advanced package developed after Oracle 10G, I suppose, where they have given many options. No need to write your big PLSQL code. Everything is built in the package. Different procedure or methods, you can say. You can just need to know how to use those methods. What are the parameters it requires? You have to just pass and see the magic. There are many other packages you will come across during this course. We'll learn many packages in the real time. I'll show you, means all my experience, whatever the package I've used over the 9-year, 10-year of my experience, I'll give you. It means that will really helpful to achieve any big task in a smallest way. So, and suppose object, and this also support object-oriented programming. Many people like the Java guys or C++ guys can say, can you create the object in your PLSQL? Yes, we can also create the object in the PLSQL. This was introduced in Oracle 8i itself, object-oriented features. SQL versus PLSQL. This is very common question people ask in the interview. So I have written a generic statement, which to just go through that. SQL is a data-oriented language, as I said, right? We are only require or need data from the database. All the logic will be there in the SQL. This will not bother about whether there is a control statement, if statement, loop is there or not. Oracle does everything inside. So you can say that SQL is a data-oriented language, PLSQL is the procedural-oriented language. Means any procedure, any logic in the modularized form, we can write it to the PLSQL can be an application language just like Java, PHP. PLSQL might be a language we use to build, format, display those screens, web pages, as I said you, PSP, PLSQL server page, reports, anything. But this SQL may be the source of data for our screen only. We cannot develop the screen. We cannot write a very complex logic or big logic within the SQL. SQL is executed on the statement at a time itself. Means all the syntax checking and everything is done there itself. But PLSQL executed at runtime. As I said, you by using execute immediate, I said you select star from pipe concatenation, that symbol, and the variable name. So PLSQL at the compile time will never check whether this syntax is correct or not, this particular SQL select statement. So it checks at runtime whether this variable, whatever the value we are passing to select star from that variable name, is the existing object of the database or not. SQL tells database what to do, means declarative, that is called declaration, and how to do. In contrast, PLSQL tells the database how to do the things procedural, like step by step. SQL used to code queries, DML, DDL statement, but your PLSQL write your PLSQL blocks, triggers, function, procedure, any stored thing. You cannot store SQL statement within the database unless until you use the PLSQL. We can embed SQL in PLSQL, but we can't embed PLSQL within SQL. SQL is a language that is used by the relational database techniques like Microsoft, Sybase, Microsoft SQL Server, Sybase, DB2, Ingress. There are various databases available. Each database supports SQL. That is why we always prefer to write the ANSI standard. ANSI standard, I'll show you what is ANSI standard so that you will come to know. 1 second. Suppose select EMP number, ename from EMP, inner join DEPT on DEPT dot department number is equal to EMP dot department number. This is called ANSI join. This particular syntax of SQL will be used across every database. That is why this is always preferable if you have written many SQL in your application. Instead of using the SQL which is specific to the Oracle, like your exist statement, select star from EMP where exist, select one from DEPT where DEPT dot this particular SQL is specific to Oracle database. It may run on the SQL server, I think so, but it will not run under Sybase, Ingress, and the DB2. So this is not the ANSI standard. ANSI standard means these all the database people came to the common platform saying like that, if the SQL is written under this ANSI standard, then we support, our database will support. So it is always preferable to write the SQL statement using this ANSI standard, so that if your application will move to the another database other than Oracle, then it won't give you any trouble, or there is no need to rewrite each and every SQL queries which support the other database. So now we'll go to the next topic. Yes, here actually this PLSQL, as I said you over the period, the first PLSQL which was introduced in Oracle Database 6 was 1.0. Nowadays, many companies, like almost around 70–80% of the organization, they upgraded the database by 10G or 11G. Depends. That depends upon their cost and financial. So we will mainly focus on the PLSQLs, all the new features which was introduced in Oracle 10G and 11G. We will discuss in the next few coming chapters. Like in PLSQL earlier, in the for all statement, we used to use the for all statement where we were processing the data in bulk. If we have written a delete from EMP where department number is equal to 10, this will go and fire only once. If you have to write select delete from department number, delete from department where department in 10.20, what would happen? This will fire 3 SQL statements internally. No need to go, this will not increase your IO, but bit increase, not as like we used, as I showed you in the front end application. I wrote 3 SQL statements, so it went 3 times to the database and come back. Here it may go for 1.5 times or 1 time. But even you can reduce these times also by using the bulk collect of for all operation. But earlier in 9i or 8i, this for all was introduced by 9i, where if there are huge volume of data, 1 million of records to be deleted from one tables, if you write the delete statement, delete from table where condition in 1, 2, 3, like this, then this will take you a lot of time. So what this Oracle 10G come up with, 9i come up with, the for all is statement for all, like we will see in future, like in the bulk processing of the data, where this will process, this will fire all 100 SQL in one time. There is a limit that we can define. This whole the elite statement will go to 100 parallel the elite statement. This will actually increase the parallelism. What I am supposed to tell here, no need to worry about how this for all works and all, that we'll see. In 9i there was no provision within the for all. You can skip the rows also. Suppose this has to process 15 rows, we can skip 7, 8, 9 rows. So in Oracle 10G they actually enhanced for all features which is there in the PLSQL, so that you can skip the rows also. In 9i you can't skip. There were no chance to skip the rows. Similarly in 11G there are new feature, a new advanced thing also introduced in for all. So in these two, the database will come to know how the new features has actually come. Question and answer. Okay. Now I'm going to unmute all of you so that you can ask your question one by one.